In today's story, the subscriber has a crazy substitute teacher who literally does the unthinkable, and, well, I'm just not going to spoil it. Enjoy the story. So the subscriber's in 6th grade, and he's in a history class. And in this history class, it's kind of like a world history class. It's kind of like an everything history class. But they're currently on a unit on Europe. That'll be important later on, not just like random useless details, I promise. So one day the subscriber, and let's just call him Jimmy. I have not been giving the subscriber like a name recently. I've been calling him the subscriber. Let's call him Jimmy. Who doesn't love a good old Jimmy, right? So Jimmy came to class one day and he thinks history class is okay. He likes the teacher. He thinks the subject is okay. It's not his favorite class. It's not Jimmy's favorite class, right? But he still enjoys it. It's a decent class. Teacher's nice enough. It's not too hard. It's just kind of like a chill class with some okay people in it. Some of his friends, some people he's kind of boys with. It's a decent enough class. So one day, Jimmy walks into his history class, right? And, he gets in there, and normally the teacher's the first one in the class. Normally the teacher's there like, I don't know, 15 minutes, 20 minutes early, just because it's the first class of the day. They get there early anyways, and the kids have to do like a morning meeting or something, or they have to do like meet up with their advisors. I don't know what they're doing, but basically just know that the teacher gets there before the students. So anyways, right, Jimmy just walks into his history class one day, and he gets there like, right as he's supposed to, which, you're normally supposed to get there honestly a couple minutes before when you're quote unquote supposed to. But Jimmy always kind of rode the line, but he was never really late by more than like 30 seconds or a minute. It worked out for him, and the teacher never complained. So he gets there at his normal time of basically being a second away from being late. And yeah, as always, everyone in the class is there, except this time, his normal teacher isn't there. So he kind of just like, he thinks it's a little weird, as this is the first time he's been here before the teacher, and he just kind of sits down and, he starts talking to one of his friends who he normally sits next to. It's as always, the beautiful, the wonderful, the glorious, the fabulous, unassigned assigned seats. So much better than assigned seats. Ugh. Just shivers run down my spine when I hear someone say that. Anyways, right, he's sitting there, he's talking with his friend, and they're looking at the clock, and it's like 1 minute past, and then it's 2 minutes past, and as time goes on, minute by minute, right, they're just like, guys, why is the teacher not here? And then all of a sudden, 7 minutes past when the class is actually supposed to happen, the door slams open, and this woman walks in. And they're all just kind of like, hello? The woman walks in and says, hi, I'm your substitute teacher. And they're like, oh, shoot, our teacher's out for the day. And they're like, welcome, hope you enjoy your stay or whatever. Whatever kids say, I don't know. Anyway, so the substitute teacher walks in. She explains, that she's the sub for the day. And, she says, okay, so what are we guys learning? And they just kind of look at her like, okay, teacher. We're learning about European history right now. And she says, oh, yeah, I know a thing about Europe or whatever. And they're kind of just looking at her because she's really, weirdly unprofessional. And I'm not saying you have to have, some, some kind of, a British accent and speak like the Queen or something to, teach a class. But, she was kind of, holding herself not like a teacher would. And she was kind of, acting kind of sloppily. I don't mean it, weirdly like that. You guys are weird. But anyways, right, so she's like, okay, European history or whatever, sure, we can do that. Everyone's just totally weirded out by the way she's acting. She's acting really weird. But she's like, yeah, okay, we can do European history. Anyone know where we start? And the class is like, oh my God, this substitute teacher knows nothing. And they were feeling bad at first, man. They thought that, it was actually, it wasn't her fault, right? They thought that, it was so last minute that their teacher canceled so last minute that the substitute was kind of just thrown in there and had no idea what to do. Jimmy, the subscriber, the one who sent in this story, you can send in stories too to my Instagram, linked in the description, or the app is in the description. Jimmy, such a wonderful kid, right? Such a good guy. He decides that he says, hey, substitute, here's my textbook. We're probably today, I looked on the syllabus the day before, we're learning from page, 50 to 60 or whatever, or 50 to 55, doesn't really matter. She's like, oh, thanks, appreciate it. Can I see that? And Jimmy's like, yeah, sure. Comes up to the front of the class, hands her the textbook, goes to sit back down. And they're all just they're sitting down, and some of them were kind of giving Jimmy the side eye because they kind of thought that they would be able to get away with not doing anything today. So yeah, not everyone was a fan of Jimmy being, the angel child of the class. But honestly, man, he did the right thing. They were going to have to learn it eventually, and it was either like, they were either going to learn it like in the normal time they were supposed to, or they'd have to learn it crammed into one day, and then they wouldn't be, whatever, right? Either way, Jimmy did what he did. And they're all sitting there, and Jimmy's like being like, oh, maybe that wasn't the greatest idea. I could have gotten away with doing nothing today, but whatever, man. Like, whatever. It is what it is. Like, I did the right thing. Teacher will be so proud, or whatever. I don't know. And the thing is, like, right, the teacher looks at the textbook. She gives it she's kind of like squinting, and she's kind of like, and she kind of looks up at the class, and they all kind of look back at her like, do you have any questions, substitute? Like, do you have any questions about this? The substitute teacher was just like looking at the text so intensely. And then she looks up at the class and says, I thought Europe was a country. And everyone's like, what? Jimmy said that he thought at first that she was joking, right? That she was just like having some laughs, having some goofs. Like, okay, she's the funny guy here, right? Nah, she was like, everyone kind of at first, like some people did really think that she was joking around, having a little bit of a jest, right? Just goofs, whatever, all for the good laughs. But she looks at them with a very sincere face. She's looking at them like, guys, I thought Europe was a country. And they all just look back at her like, oh, ma'am, like, you're mistaken. I don't think you're qualified to teach this class. But anyways, right, nevertheless, she plows along. She starts reading through the textbook, and normally where the history teacher would have been like looking at the textbook briefly for reference and then teaching the history, the substitute was just reading from the textbook, which, at the end of the day, she's a substitute. Maybe she was like studying math or whatever. Maybe she's better at, I don't know, like other fields of study and not European history, which if she thought Europe was a country, then I really hope she did not major in European history, but anyways. Anyway, she keeps going until she hits another point in the history textbook that she's very confused about, because the United States of America comes up. And at this point, they were looking at history in Europe when the United States of America was founded, right? And she looks at it and she's like, wait a minute, this is wrong. And they're like, oh, you found an error in the textbook. Like maybe there's a grammatical error. Maybe there's a date that's wrong. Maybe the photo is supposed to be of George Washington, but they put Daffy Duck instead. Who knows? She says, it says here that America wasn't America founded in 1945? Yeah, America was founded in 1945. And the whole class just looks at her with their mouths like dropped on the floor. They're just like, dude, there's no way. There's no way. There's literally no way. There's no shot. There's no shot. There's no shot, guys. No, she didn't just say that. No shot did she just say. They all look at her like, nope, sorry. United States of America was not founded in, what did you say, 1945? No, that was not the case, substitute. That was, Miss Substitute Teacher. Nope, not the case. The secret phrase of the day is, you guessed it, 1945. So if you made it this far into the video, comment 1945 down below. I just like to see how many people made it this far into the video, because we gotta pay some homage to the founders of the United States in 1945 when the United States was obviously founded. So make sure to comment that down below. And yeah, while you're at it, subscribe and leave a like, and you'll receive literally nothing. I'm feeling generous today, boys. Feeling extra generous. So yeah, do that. Yeah. So 1 like on this video equals 1 cool history fact, such as the United States was founded in 1945 or Europe is a country. Anyways, yeah, back to the story, because it gets worse. It literally gets worse. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it gets, just listen to the story. So at this point, the kids are just completely shocked. Everyone in the class, including Jimmy, right, is just like, dude, what? Why? Right? And then all of a sudden, right, when you thought that the teacher, like the substitute teacher, was bad, right, she says, all right, I need to take a break. What? It's a 45-minute class. You came in 7 minutes late. Why do you need to take a break? Why do you need a break? Bro, you're being paid to teach a class and you miss like 20% of it already. That math was probably wrong, but 15% of it or whatever, right? And you're only here for like 40, 35 more minutes, or total. You're probably at that point only had like 20 minutes left. You're like, dude, I need a break. no, this is too much work for me. So anyways, right, she whips out her phone and starts calling someone. The whole class is like, what? Okay, so when she takes out her phone, right, she's like, hey, babe. When someone like picks up, she's like, hey, baby. And the whole class is like, hey, yo, like, what? What? And they're just like, please don't be weird. Please do not be weird. They're all just sitting there, and she's looking at the phone, and she's like, kind of like twisting her hair, and then she bites her lip a little bit. Everyone's like, yo, what? And she's like, yeah, I've been bad. And the whole class is like, yo, dude, what? And she's like, I'm ready to be punished. And the whole class is like, yeah. Right, so Jimmy, good old Jimmy, just solid kid, Jimmy, right? 10 out of 10, outstanding guy. 10 out of 10, 3 stars. 3 out of 3 stars, by the way. He's like, he raises his hand, because he's just done with this. He's just done, right? He raises his hand, and he's like, can I go to the bathroom? And she looks at him quickly like, yeah, whatever. And then goes back to, like, her moan fest or whatever with her boyfriend on the phone, while the entire class is just completely pale-faced and in shock anyways, right? So Jimmy, he makes his escape plan. And by the way, a little tip, little hint for you guys. He has no plans on going to the bathroom at all. Jimmy was not about to go to the bathroom on this one. Jimmy instead walks right by the bathroom, right up the hallway, and right to the principal's office. And he goes up and he knocks on the door. And the principal kind of like, says, come on in, like... And then he looks, he's like, oh, Jimmy, I didn't really expect you to be here. Because it wasn't the biggest school, and the principal kind of knew, he kind of knew the people, right? He had some he made an effort to make conversations with people. And he also knew, like, who, frequently was sent to the principal's office. And Jimmy was not one of these kids. He just wasn't, right? So he's like, oh, Jimmy, like... why are you here? Like, I don't normally see you here. I think the principal assumed that, like, Jimmy got in trouble or something, and he's just not used to that. And Jimmy says, I don't really know how to explain this, so I'm just going to tell you everything. And I'm not gonna, I just told you guys everything, right? I'm not going to tell you it all again. Jimmy basically just tells you the story that I just told you guys, right? And the principal, his face, like, throughout the entire story, it just got, like, from, like, some kind of, like, a nice, like, kind of, like, smile, friendly, whatever, to, like, a straight face, to, like, do you know that Mr. Incredible meme where his face just gets, like, darker and darker and just, like, more and more just, like he's seen something terrible, like, again and again, it got worse and worse. So basically, the principal's face started out, like, on the left, and by the end of the story, it was, like, the face on the right, basically. And, then Jimmy eventually finishes his story. He's like, and then I decided to, obviously not go to the bathroom, man. Like, I don't even have to go pee. Like, I couldn't even go if I wanted to, right? But instead, I decided to come see you. And that's where we are now. And the principal just looks at him. He's like, we're going to your classroom right now. You're coming with me. So they get back to the classroom, right? They're walking down the hallway. Jimmy is, like, kind of, like, falling behind a little bit. This principal's a big guy, and he's having a very, very firm pace. So Jimmy has to even jog a little bit, man. Like, he's trying to catch up. They get to the classroom, and it's just a bunch of kids sitting there, and there's no substitute teacher to be found. And the principal's like, yo, Jimmy, like, why is no one here? And Jimmy's like, what? And the class is like, yeah, the substitute teacher actually just left. And some kid in the class, let's call him Arthur, right? He was kind of a bit of a quiet kid. He also had a side business of selling illegal test answers. He was actually a criminal warlord. Anyways, right? So Arthur, right? This kid. He didn't do any of that, by the way. But anyways, right? He pipes up and he says, yeah, on the way, she just, like, got up and said, bye, kids. Like, by the way, not even a substitute, lol. And then she just left. I don't know if she said, like, lol, but that'd be pretty funny if she did. And the principal's face was like, she said, what? And he checks his phone, and he opens up his email, and he's like, I gotta go. Class dismissed early. And everyone's like, yay, class is out. It was only like 5 minutes early or whatever, right? And, Jimmy's just confused at this point. So I'm not totally sure how Jimmy figured this out, but later on, like a couple days later, I don't think a week later, but at least a couple days later, right? He figures out that, or he learned somehow, I think like maybe got leaked to a parent and then his mom told him, or somehow he learned that like the substitute teacher that was there that day was not their substitute teacher. And apparently, right, the principal, when he checked his email, what he saw was an email from the the substitute teacher agency that like gives them subs saying like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like the sub that we had ready for you just called out sick like a couple minutes ago and we don't have anyone ready. We're so sorry. You might have to cancel the class. So apparently, right, some random woman just walked into the class and no one like she was just apparently like just looking around for like an empty classroom, assuming that like maybe someone needed a substitute or something. And yeah, she just walked right in and no one questioned anything. And let me just say that, after that day, the Jimmy, right, he started seeing like guards in the school. He started seeing like, actual guards and stuff. And there's actual like protocol after that moment. Apparently it was like a major breach in safety. Obviously, like the only like damage that was done was one kid in that class, probably that Arthur kid, probably now thought the United States was founded in like 1945 or something.